What is poppin', NFL fans? It's your boy Kevin Phillip Fox here with the Legit Football NFL podcast. Don't adjust your computer screens. That was the real Slim Shady in that intro video with the bleach blonde hair. Just kidding. That's producer Anthony, who's making his grand return to the show today. But first, Adrian Revito, my partner from Down Under. Welcome back to you as well. Revolving door of legit hosts, minus yours truly.
It feels that you are really the staple here. You're the one that kind of keeps us grounded.
What's the deal with that? What's up with that?
Look, I feel like every pod can really only have one responsible person, and you are that man. Everyone else is an agent for chaos.
If I'm the most responsible person on the pod, we are very screwed.
That's how we build the plane while we fly. And you are. Let's be honest, you're our pilot.
I will say, no Jimmy Ray today, no NFL stats, heartbreaking. But as I did say, the real Slim Shady, Anthony Weiner, the producer, is back on the show today. Anthony, we missed the bleach blonde hair, bro. Where's it at?
Well, I grew it out, so everything grew with it.
Just for the photo. Just for the photo.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Joe Burrow.
No, I think that the Slim Shady fits nice because I'm, Detroit roots.
That's very fair. That is a very
very fitting.
That's a very good point. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been joining us these past couple weeks, how it goes during the season, we predict every single game. We go exact score predictions. We talk a little bit about what happened the week before, and we do a Thursday Night Football recap. Without further ado, Adrian, we got a doozy of a game to talk about here. 36-30 final, Atlanta winning in overtime. Adrian, I'll start with you. Talk to me about your thoughts on this game.
I mean, well, I'm gonna start talking about my boy Baker because this game was
reasonable.
This was the Bucks. Yeah, this is the Bucks game to lose. He came out firing. Actually, I shouldn't really say that because Kirk Cousins came out and hit a full-time record and a halftime record.
Yeah.
They both drives came out on fire. They were making good decisions. The only thing I'll say is I feel like Bijan didn't get involved enough and I'm all over the road here going between the two teams, but Bijan didn't get involved enough for my liking. And I feel like we need to see more of him. But it was good to see such a good Thursday night game. You could see Al was wrapped about it after a few stinkers that happened there. Went down to the wire, went to overtime. Daryl Hodge finished it off of all people. Involved in the game. I mean, you couldn't. I know I'm just saying random stuff here, but you couldn't be more happy with how that game was as far as entertainment value.
Oh, absolutely. And I will say the Bijan thing, 12 carries, right? 61 yards. We're kind of looking for a little bit more out of him, specifically for fantasy football. Kind of a little bit of
one day.
In a 36-30, that's a stinker. In a 36-30 game where your offense is in a shootout and you put up a handful of fantasy points, nine fantasy points, a little bit of a stinker. Anthony, what were your takeaways from this game?
From a fantasy perspective, I was very happy because I have Baker on my Legit Football Dynasty League, and he did just incredible things. But Darnell Mooney, so I picked him up from waivers week 1. I'm like, I need an insurance wide receiver, and it took so much out of me to even put him on the starting lineup this week. And now, obviously, I'm so glad I did. Like, that's a perfect example of risk and reward. I put the risk and I got the reward. And I think Kirk Cousins really knows how to utilize his receivers, and I think I knew that from the start.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed. In one of my leagues, I actually had Kirk Cousins in my lineup until about 30 minutes before kickoff, and I got the yips. And then I saw 504, and I puked in my mouth.
Oh, no.
Kirk looks good though, yeah. Like, I mean, you could see he looked a lot more comfortable. He's always been a good pocket passer, and he just sort of came back to that. We've talked about how streaky Kirk Cousins is, and this is sort of peak passing Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
A couple throws a little off the money, but for the most part, when you throw for 511 yards, who can possibly complain about your passing?
Yeah, unbelievable performance from Kirk. Drake London, absolute blow-up game. I think the Falcons are finding their form. I think they're going to be an interesting and a fun team down the stretch. Not worried about the Bucs at all. I think the Falcons kind of have some weird sort of like magic to them this year about those last minute, the Eagles game, the Saints game, now this game. They kind of have some of that. I don't know how you'd say it. It's almost like they're just willing their way to victory. Snatching victory from the jaws of defeat frequently.
You've got to say the Kirk primetime.
Yeah,
whatever is gone. That's dead.
Yeah, it's dead. It's dead. So mad love to the Bucs though. They put up a lot of fight. Baker looks great. Shockingly low amount of passing yards for Baker, 180 with 3 touchdowns. Kind of a bizarre offensive game from the Buccaneers. Rachaad White, who is kind of like the butt of every joke in terms of like running back talent, had an outstanding game. The 1 week I decided to buy into Bucky Irving.
Yep.
And think Bucky Irving is the guy, right? Like, oh, the transition has happened. The changing of the guard. No, sir. Rachaad White, still that dude, apparently.
Oh, yeah. When it comes to Rachaad White, I always felt like he was involved in the passing game. Like he was always that passing running back.
Exactly.
Especially with Baker. I mean, Baker loves passing the checkdowns to Rachaad White, and he's really good after the catch. And he can run and catch. And so that's something that Irving can't do, where he's mostly just staying on the ground.
Yeah, 11 carries for Rachaad White last night, handful of receptions. Just like I said, bizarre offensive game. If you didn't have Mike Evans in fantasy, you were probably disappointed. Godwin didn't really have the craziest blow-up game. Somehow, some way, Cade Otton always finds a way to be relevant, which is just, again, bizarre. But I think moving forward, I think the Bucs will be just fine. I think they'll contend in that NFC South. I think really that looked like one of the weaker divisions in football, and I think it's currently shaping up to be one of the stronger ones, which is did not have that on my bingo card for this season.
Oh, no. I mean, right now, the NFC South is probably the most fun to watch.
Absolutely.
As of right now.
Absolutely.
I mean, I said at the start of the season, it really pained me to say it, that I thought the Bucs were going to regress, and they're doing fantastic. And I will say about Rachaad White, just for like on that note, he had one huge run which really padded his stats. Before he was running like 1.42 yards a carry. Like, I can't remember what it was at the time, but yeah, I still think Bucky Irving is going to be the guy to take over.
You know, right? And I was bought in, man. That goes to show you with football, man. Whenever you think it's gonna happen, you just put your clown makeup on. You tell yourself it's gonna happen. You look in the mirror. At the end of the day, there's just a clown staring back at you. So, I think there's no real panic meter for either of these teams. I think let's give a I love a good meter. That's a good way to like tie up the Thursday night discussion. Let's give a legit meter. I like that. We're gonna start that, the legit meter. How legit a team is, legit football.
Need a graphic.
I'll start working on a graphic for you.
For our 279 watchers who aren't commenting, by the way, how dare you, first of all. But second of all, the legit meter. Let me know, Adrian, Anthony, I'll close out the discussion. How legit are the Falcons? 1 to 10.
You know what? I'm gonna say comfortably. I'm gonna say they're. When we're saying legit, 10 is Super Bowl contender, right?
Yeah, let's say that. Let's say that.
6.5 to 7. But they could contend, but I can't see them making a deep playoff run. I don't know, and I don't trust Kirk to be this good. Obviously, every week he's one of the more streaky quarterbacks.
That's fair. And
so ever since I was sitting in East Lansing on one of the stadium seats at Michigan State Stadium and watching him play for the Spartans, I've been high on Kirk Cousins since then. He is an incredible quarterback, and we saw that multiple times. Washington, Minnesota, going to Atlanta. Week 1, I would have said a 3. Week 2, a 5. It's been linear. I got to say an 8 now. I think they have it figured out, and I think that they always had, and they just needed somebody like Kirk to join the team. He had some growing pains. He had to really shake the rust off. It's a new team. It's really hard to gain that chemistry once the regular season starts. We've seen it for years, and I want to say a confident 8.
Talk about growing pains. We're talking about a regrowing Achilles was the situation for Kirk. He's growing that tendon back. I'll give them a 6 as well, Aid. I'm still in, and I still think they're going to be good. But yeah, you're right, Adrian. The ceiling is just. I do think they have a ceiling with the way they're currently constructed. I think give a little ascendance to that defense. Maybe upgrade some of the weapons. Although the weapons, I mean, Kyle Pitts finally had a game last night. Maybe the weapons aren't the problem. The weapons are pretty. Darnell Mooney looks legit as a 2. Yeah. So I'll say I agree 6.
Big surprise. Big surprise for me since Mooney was in Chicago doing nothing, and now he's out in Atlanta actually making things happen. It's like it's another example. You just need the team. You need the quarterback. You need the right people around you to succeed. And I think that's what Darnell Mooney's finally getting.
Absolutely. And before we close out, I just need that drop one more time.
The alarms are sirening and the sirens are alarming.
Wow, that is just the most brilliant thing I've ever heard in my life. I'm a poet. I'm a damn poet.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know it. You do know it.
I'm a poet and I know it.
With that common saying.
Absolutely horrendous rhyme. That's a great spot for us to launch into our game previews. Starting with my Buffalo Bills. Traveling to Houston to take on 1.5-point favorite Texans. I didn't want to talk about this game. I asked in the pre-show if we could politely just pretend it wasn't happening. For all of you who have been following the show for a long time, this is the Stephon Diggs Bowl. This is the I'm gonna run into my ex for the first time since the breakup, and I want to show her how good I'm doing. However, that being said, this is not the version of the Bills that I think I would like to present, given the 35-10 thrumping that took place last Sunday night. Not to mention, for those of you keeping score at home, Matt Milano out, Teron Johnson out, Ed Oliver out, Taylor Rapp out, Khalil Shakir out. That is a really significant percentage of impact players missing this game. So yeah, I'm not too jazzed. When we see Diggs and he's got his new man on his arm, CJ Stroud, and he's like, "Hey, where's your new man?" And we're like talking about Khalil Shakir, and we're like, "Yeah, he's not here, but trust me, he exists and he's hot." But that being said, it is what it is. Gotta play with who you got. Next man up, all those fun cliches. I think it's going to be a tough one for Buffalo. And I don't love doing this on the pod, but I do think I'm going to pick Houston to win this game. Yeah, I know the cringe. It is shared. I think Josh Allen can put the cape on a little bit. I think he can do some things. I think Baby Cook can get some stuff going in the run. I think Joe Mixon's going to miss the game. So I think Houston will be playing left-handed a little bit as well, but I think they have enough firepower to overcome whatever Buffalo can throw at them. I'll take Houston in this one. I'll say 30-24.
You know what? And this is, and historically on this pod, sorry, that is my son knocking on the door if you can hear it.
Bring him in.
He makes his weekly podcast.
He's probably smarter than you.
Yeah, come and give us some analysis, mate.
Bring him in.
Come and give us some analysis. So I think I actually think the Bills, so they're yeah, calm down.
Oh, yeah.
There
we go.
All right. So I think the Bills, they actually, they've allowed the third most rush yards on the season. So their benefit with Joe Mixon being out, calm down, mate. Dad needs to do analysis. All right, I'm going to pass him off.
All right, and there it was. Ladies and gentlemen, Fabian.
Yeah,
what a show.
Rivero, always on. So, yeah, I think they're going to benefit from Joe Mixon being out. I do think Josh Allen's going to put the cape on here after. He's kind of one of those quarterbacks that comes back after getting punched in the mouth and has no problems with it. So fair. I picked the Bills here 28-24. I think they're going to show Stephon Diggs that they don't need another man. You know, ever since we broke up, I realized that I've got to love myself before I can worry about anyone else. And Josh Allen's doing just that.
Adrian, I got chills. during that.
They're multiplying. They might be multiplying.
They are multiplying. And I'll say this really quick before we pass it over to producer Ant. You guys, the streak is snapped. Most consecutive games without losing by more than one score. NFL record since 2021. Buffalo has not lost by more than one score until last Sunday. So RIP to that awesome record. And you know what? That game, it looked like they were going to do it. It looked like they were going to compete. It's just every time they took 2 steps forward, they took 3 back. And Derrick Henry also took about 500 steps over our dead corpses. And my father, with a little pot shot here. Thanks, Dad. He's a Bills fan too. Get rubbing it in that our kicker is trees. Anyways, Anthony, take it over.
I can't talk about that.
Oh, you really can't talk about that.
I've seen Josh Allen do things where he single-handedly wins games. Like he'll be like, "What? The receivers aren't doing anything, the running backs aren't doing anything. Even my offensive line won't give me any time. So I'll just get the ball into the end zone. I'll just do it for you. You know,
it's damn true.
I'm surprised his back is still intact, carrying the team on it.
It's fair.
But Houston is mostly healthy. They really have it together right now. That really, really good Jacksonville game. They really showed that they can compete at a high level. CJ Stroud especially. Even if you double cover Nico Collins, at least Stephon Diggs wide open. You somehow figure out how to do both. You have Tank Dell now healthy, and then it's really hard to stop this offense. I want to say Houston's going to take it, just because of the Bills, being out with injuries, just like cooking spaghetti with a pot with no handles. And I think that
bars.
Houston will figure out how to make that happen. I'm going to say 28-24 Houston.
What was your score, Kevin?
30-24 Houston.
I hate to say, but I'm going to be the one that's right.
I really, Aid, if you are right, I will have a little party on the podcast next week. Adrian, so obviously this is going to be you covering this because it's your favorite team, the Carolina Panthers.
Oh yeah, my boys. Yeah, the wild card man. Hey, you know what? Andrew Dalton's got the offense working.
I like
Talk.
the way he looks.
Let's start here, right? And it sucks for Bryce Young, but I think I've said at the start of this year that it's too early for the book on Bryce, but I'm starting to think that maybe he's just not that dude. I know they've had calls about trades. That's not the point of this discussion. So Andy Dalton's got the offense looking good. It really could not have gotten worse. He's making smart decisions, and he's got that kind of calm and collective poise that a veteran is going to bring to the game. Their defense is bottom of the league in a lot of categories. They haven't worked out what to do without Derek Brown. And so I do think Caleb coming in, and this is kind of the Caleb Bryce trade personified. Caleb is showing growth, and I hate to say that out loud. And I don't know if you feel the same way, because like the Bears fans are intolerable. They started week 1.
You guys both hate the Bears for good reason.
I actually, I kind of wanted. I drafted Caleb fantasy. I kind of want him to do well, but the fans are just anyway.
Yeah,
because I know Packers can be annoying.
I get it. I'm there.
So he's shown a lot of growth. He had his highest pass rating last week because he had no interceptions, and he's going against a really terrible defense. I actually think he's going to do well this week, which will really hurt my ego. And I actually think Swift, who kind of silenced the haters, he copped a lot of flack in week 3, and then he just came back in week 4 and did well. So he was a bit of a dog in him. So I'd say I'm going to put the Bears up 25-16, but it's only because the Panthers don't get excited, Bears fans.
I love it. I love it. And
so, Adrian, before I do mine, I want to ask you a question. Caleb had a really incredible game, but consistency is key in the NFL. Do you think he can keep having games like that, or was that like a one in a lifetime opportunity for him?
Yeah, I think if you're judging him as a normal rookie quarterback, I think he's going to be fine. Obviously, he's got the more hype than anyone in the game, and I think he's got a lot of pressure on him. But his first season is going to be up and down. It's going to be mistake riddled, and he's going to need the defense to save him once in a while, and that's okay. I think he'll be fine. That's I don't think they're going to have a successful season. I don't think they'll make the playoffs because of that inconsistency, but I don't think it's a problem. He's shown enough, and he's shown the flashes to say he can be.
Okay. Because I know Chicago has a history of bringing quarterbacks into bad situations, and then they are career failures. But then Justin Fields broke that by going to a new team. So is it Chicago or is it the quarterback? And that being said, if they can somehow figure out how to get through the Carolina's mediocre defense, they're not terrible, but they're not great. I don't see them stopping Andy Dalton because, I mean, let's be honest, he's the backup GOAT. Because Gardner Minshew's a starter now, so he's the new backup GOAT. And I think that Andy Dalton will be able to ball out against the Bears. I don't think they're going to win. I think the Bears are going to pull it off. I want to say 17-14 Bears.
And with that being said, I'll give you guys some credit on your take about Caleb, but I'll also just say, like, let's not forget, this is a number 1 pick who's getting he had a different level of expectation. He's getting a different level of scrutiny, but it's supposed to be met with a different level of success, and we're not really seeing that. So despite the fact that he's more harshly criticized, and he also had a better supporting cast, and I think he should be doing more than he's doing so far. I think he should be putting it together a little faster, but he's also a human being, and that it always takes time when you're entering a new realm of your professional career. There's always going to be an adjustment period. The game will slow down eventually. I think I'm inclined to believe in him, but let's not forget, talk about Prince who was promised. This is Prince who was promised 2.0. If Trevor Lawrence is Jon Snow, then this dude is like Robb Stark. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got to get that same level of respect and whatnot. That being said, this game specifically, I love what Adrian said about DeAndre Swift, because I was one of those piling on. Roshan Johnson's taking over the backfield. Yeah, freaking right. Swift showed he was who the Lions drafted. He was who he was in Philly. I was damn near trying to trade him. I would have taken a bag of Skittles for him in fantasy football. But after that game, I'm like, well, let's hold the bag a little bit. Let's see. Yeah. Maybe he can drive his value up before we ship him out of town. Or maybe we just hold on to him because maybe he's a good player. That being said, I don't really care about any of that. I have so much faith in Andy Dalton, Deontay Johnson, Xavier Leggett. I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers for an upset special. Oh. I am. I'm going to do it. I don't care. I got some swinging cojones today, and I'm taking Carolina in this one. I'll say 27 to 18.
All right. move it on. And this is Ant.
Take it away, Ant.
All right, so the Vikings have been surprising at best. When I saw JJ McCarthy go onto IR, I'm like, all right, they're gonna struggle. But Sam Darnold's looking incredible. I mean, he's looking MVP caliber right now. And he has targets like Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, so it's not that difficult to be able to, because you always have someone to pass to, and that's what a lot of quarterbacks struggle with. And Minnesota really has built an offense around whoever the quarterback is, regardless of who it is. So Sam Darnold is able to he's can we call him a veteran? Has he been in the league long enough to be a veteran?
7 years.
Yeah. So we can call him a veteran. So when you put a veteran quarterback in that position, he's going to be able to get it done. And I think that's exactly what he's doing. I think Minnesota's up to something. As a Detroit fan in the NFC North, I'm terrified. I'm like, oh, I thought I had to worry about the Packers. Now I have to worry about the Vikings too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Reasonable.
like, oh, we're good. I placed bets on winning the NFC North this year, and now it's like, oh, am I going to lose my money? Because watching these teams, how good they're playing. Basically, I'm saying the Vikings are going to beat the Jets, and it's not even going to be a problem. Aaron Rodgers has played the Vikings many, many times in Green Bay, but he's not in Green Bay. So I think that it's going to be a whole different world, and they're playing at home, and they're on a roll, and I think they're going to keep rolling. So I think the Vikings are going to win 31-21.
Ooh, that's a big, tall task against that Jets defense. I'll also just throw it out there. I believe this is a neutral site game. London, correct me if I'm wrong. Yep. So kind of takes a little bit of the wind out of that Viking sails a little bit, in my opinion. Kind of more of a neutral site.
London. I totally forgot it was London.
Those damn home games.
That might change my opinion a little bit.
Think about it.
Yeah, I do think the Vikings are going to win, but I don't know if because they don't have home field advantage. It's going to be overseas. They're going to be jet lagged. I'm going to switch it. Can I change mine? I'm going to change mine. 21-17. I think the Vikings are going to win, but it's not going to be that.
Okay.
21-17 still win.
And that's more akin to what I was thinking regardless. I mean, you take out the London part. I mean, the Jets defense is one of the best in the league still. They still look excellent. It really warmed my heart as a Bills fan to watch the Jets lose to the Broncos, and I think that's why Armand is not here today. Because I will just tiptoe all over the Jets' grave when they get eliminated. Notice I said when. You guys know I've never been a believer. I continue to not be. However, they're better than I thought they were going to be, especially on offense. Starting to question. Oh, we got a martini bomb. This is new. Jefferson's day-to-day. I think he'll play. I'm pretty confident that he'll play, especially against Sauce Gardner. He probably wants to get out there and show the league that the true unstoppable force is the Vikings offense. I'll be a believer in the Vikings here. As Anthony said, I don't think it'll be a shootout originally. I think it'll probably be a good game for the Vikings though. And I think the Jets will probably get a little something going, but not enough because Brian Flores has those boys playing inspired. I'm going to take the Vikings in this one. I'll say 24-13 in London.
So I'm looking at the injury report quickly. I can't see Jefferson on there. Only TJ Hawkinson is out. So hopefully, I think he's playing too. I think
he'll probably be playing. I would guess.
I'm not going to add much more to this except to say that the Broncos blitzed the hell out of Aaron Rodgers and he struggled with it last week, and the Vikings lead the league in sacks. So I think the Vikings take this. And I don't think it's that close either. I'm going to say 28-13, and I think that some of those points are coming in garbage time.
Okay, let's pose a hypothetical. A friend of mine who accidentally benched Kirk Cousins last night has to start a quarterback in fantasy. Should they start Anthony Richardson or Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold.
I got to say Sam Darnold.
Even against the Jets defense.
I think so. I definitely think so.
Okay, well, I'll tell that friend.
Well, I mean, Sam Darnold.
Don't put that on me.
I'll tell that friend.
Give me a target on my head.
It was all Ant.
So Sam Darnold carved up the Niners, carved up the Texans, who have got a formidable defense.
Thank you. This is what my friend needed to hear. He feels good. He's going to do it. He's going to play Darnold. We have the Cleveland Browns, the pukiest team in the NFL, traveling to Washington to take on the most exciting team in the NFL. And Adrian, who's off-season darling team?
Here we are. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about it.
Who's off-season darling?
To misquote the worst vice president on the planet elect, I'm focused on the future. All right.
My off-season darling Washington Commanders, who are coming in at 3-1, one of the most piping hot offenses in the league. Yes, the Browns have a good defense, but who cares? Deshaun Watson is horrible. He's horrible at football. And I don't like the Cleveland Browns, so I'm happy to watch them struggle. It's not a dynamite game because Washington is so exciting. Austin Eckler's back. I think Brian Robinson's out, so this could be a one-man show in the backfield, which could be huge fantasy points. So stream Eckler, maybe take some parlays, take some overs on Eckler. Terry McLaurin having more fun than he's had his entire playing career right now, which Adrian's happy about. I'm happy about. This is a pro Terry McLaurin podcast. I'm still waiting for Ben Sinnott to have his breakout, but we can't be greedy. We can't be greedy. I got to take Washington in this one, and I'll take them big. I'll take Washington 28-17.
I had a very similar score. I put 28-16, and for all of those points you made, it will be nice. This is not related to this game, but Nick Chubb started practicing again. He had his first practice this week.
I love Nick Chubb. If there's one player on Cleveland I'm truly rooting for, it's Nick Chubb. And I like Jerome Ford, too. He's done a nice job in his stead.
He has. He's done well. So I think this will be a stinker. I think the Commanders will take it easy. And Jaden Daniels playing out of his mind. Terry McLaurin, I think I'm fairly certain if I go back to the offseason, I planted my flag that Terry McLaurin was going to be a baller this year.
I think that's true.
Yeah. So it's not victory. At least you give me flowers.
Victory season. Victory lap season. All right, Ant.
And in Kevin's league, I have Jaden Daniels. And then in a couple other leagues, I have Terry McLaurin because I was like, Washington is going to do something. And at first it was like, okay, maybe, he's a rookie. He's got to, but he came out balling the first week. And it seems like every time I look at the screen, I see Washington somehow finding a way into the end zone, whether it's Jaden Daniels, Brian Robinson, or Terry McLaurin. And it's like Jaden Daniels just waltzing into the end zone like he could tiptoe and he'll make it in there. And he's just, Washington's offense is so good, like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And the Browns, even if they are a decent defense, they're not going to be able to stop them because somehow Deshaun Watson is going to get them in their heads. Like, oh, hey, man, why aren't you scoring? Because Deshaun Watson is literal trash. And so
taking time bomb. That's so great. I can't believe it hasn't already boiled over.
I'm like, get a new quarterback. It's not rocket science, right?
This year, they converted his signing bonus into I don't know the term. They converted a salary into a signing bonus. So they've further stuck their financial flag in Watson for the not even just foreseeable future. They are fully committed to him.
We've seen this all before, and it never works out. It never works out that way. The spread is 3. That's too low. The spread should be 10.5. I think Washington is going to win 28-12. I just think that I'm speechless. I don't have words because Cleveland is playing such bad football right now, and Washington's the complete opposite. I mean, we're talking rookie of the year as of right now, and I think that he's going to prove that again against this Browns team at home in front of their fans, and it's going to be really exciting for Washington to watch because they're going to look like contenders after this game.
Please give me Jameis Winston as per PK Martini, please. We all love us some Jameis. Adrian, take it away, brother.
All right. So it is the Baltimore Ravens at 2-2 against the Bengals at 1-3. Who had that on their bingo card? You know what I like in this game too, and I don't know if it's like this in America. And you tell me if it is. You've got certain gymnasiums or gyms, right, that are like hot girl gyms where you've got like everyone is pretty and they're in yoga pants and makeup and all the guys are on steroids. And right, and they look great on paper. That to me is the Bengals, right? Then you've got like that real like dog gym, like boxing gym. Everyone is sweating and it's like they don't look pretty, but man, they get the job done.
That's for sure.
We do have one. It's called LA Fitness.
Yeah, there's LA Fitness and there's Planet Fitness. That's what he just described.
And on paper, when you look at it, right, the hot girl gym, if you put them into a dog fight, they are going to get creamed. No one's back in the hot girl gym in a fight, and that's this game to me, right? The Bengals
I love this.
Have got the pieces. They've got what looks like should be a winning formula. They had a healthy Joe Burrow in the offseason for the first time ever. And they've come out and look, they don't look terrible on offense. I'm not going to say that they look horrific, but they're 1-3. Captain Lou's defense is not carrying enough water to sort of bring them through these games. And whereas Baltimore, I know they're 2-2, but man, they are like the best looking 2-2 team in the league at the moment. Lamar is pocket passing like an absolute baller. He's running like it's 3 years ago. He talked about shedding weight in the offseason, and you can really sort of see that explosiveness on him. I don't think the Bengals defense is going to be able to stop him. Burrow said he needs to play perfect, quote unquote, in this game. And I don't know. Have we seen Burrow play a perfect game yet? Why is he going to start with the Ravens?
Yeah, it's good defense.
I think the Ravens win this 31-17. I think this is going to be.
I want to, before we get to Anthony's prediction, I want to address something you brought up, Adrian. First of all, I wish both teams could lose. I've been holding on to that one since we started talking about it. I do love the Ravens, but I'm so pissed at them for last week. And I hate the Bengals. You guys know that. Captain Lou reminds me of a guaranteed first overall pick who stays in college for one more year because they really want that precious degree. And that stink, man. That stink on Captain Lou's defense right now. I don't know if he's going to be that head coaching candidate that we all thought he was going to be. He hasn't taken a job yet. It's been 3 or 4 years that he's been, Lou Anarumo. We are at the point where is he going to coach his way out of a potential head coaching job by staying in Cincy for 1 year too many?
Could be the case.
Interesting.
Could absolutely be the case.
Feels like it, right? Sorry, I just wanted to address that before. Ant, go ahead, take it away.
Pretty good. Adrian got me on the analogies.
What I do.
He's killing it.
But the Ravens were one of those teams where I'm like, they're going to go 5-0. They're going to be the undefeated team that starts the season. They're going to beat the Chiefs. They're going to beat everybody, and they haven't. It's like, what's happening in Baltimore right now? Because it's the same thing I'm asking myself about Cincinnati. What the hell's happening in Cincinnati? So these are two teams where I'm like, what is happening? And so I think this is the game where we finally figured that out, whether it's the Ravens or the Bengals. And I think that whoever plays, like Adrian said, whoever plays a perfect game will win the game. And then we'll finally have in our heads, that's the team. That's how they're going to play the rest of the season. I really, really like this matchup because these are two teams that we had high hopes for, and they have not delivered.
Should be a good game.
It should. And I think Lamar Jackson being Houdini, I think that he's going to find a way to really, break through the Bengals defense and do exactly what Patrick Mahomes did when Cincinnati was putting enough points to win, but they couldn't seem to stop the opposing quarterback. And that's what's going to happen here. The Ravens are going to win. It's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be 21-18.
Yeah, I like that. I'll just triple down. Baltimore showed us exactly who they were last week against Buffalo. They are contenders. They have the running game. As PK Martini pointed out, Henry is the difference. That dude is he's a grown man. And we have the video of him stiff arming Josh Norman in the intro video. We could probably pick any of his carries against Buffalo last week and just replace it with that one, because he is just a special football player, and he's a Hall of Famer in my opinion. 49ers faithful forever. What's popping? Good to see you. We missed you. We haven't talked about your team yet, so no stress. No brainer for me. Baltimore in this one, and I'll say big. I'll say 33-16.
Anyone who
put
thinks
that nail in the Bengals coffin early.
Anyone who thinks Derrick Henry's not a Hall of Famer is out of their mind.
Same. I think Henry and Evans are the two. Like, we're watching them solidify that. We're watching them cement their first ballot status this season. Take it away.
So this is an exciting game because it's a rematch. I love it when they have more than one in the first 5 weeks against each other. But when the Colts played in week 1, I'm like, oh, they're the team. Like, they're doing great, right? They're incredible. But no, the team they were playing was just bad. And we can all agree that the Jaguars are bad. So are the Colts going to win because the Jaguars are bad, or are they going to win because they're good? And I think that's what this matchup is having me ask myself. And so I don't know if Anthony Richardson is totally healthy.
Yeah, he might not play. He's very questionable right now.
And so if he does play, will that be the difference? Or if he doesn't play, will that, I don't know. Like, their quarterback situation is crazy right now. Gardner Minshew was better as the starter in Indianapolis when he was playing for them. And the Jaguars, they're just awful. Like, I don't have words. When I watch them play, I'm like, I was so high on Trevor Lawrence for the longest time, and he has still not delivered. He was stunned. I'm like, Urban Meyer stunted his development. He'll come back. He hasn't come back yet. And so I do have the Colts winning this one just because I feel like they have it a little bit more together, but it's going to be very close. I'm going to go 9-6. I don't see any touchdowns being scored.
Jeez Louise, that is
game.
so disrespectful. Okay, so 9-6. If Flacco plays, I would probably pick the Colts to win outright. Because I have a lot of faith in him. I think we saw what he still has in the tank last season, and especially when he has time and weapons, which the Colts really have a lot of weapons. Let's be real here. Jonathan Taylor's out. That's a bit of a hit to the Colts' chances, but Jags' defense is so bad, it almost feels like an insert player here situation. Trey Sermon is getting the start. Big prospect for San Francisco years back. I'm going to start Trey Sermon in a couple fantasy leagues. I'm so not afraid of the Jags, and I'm so not afraid. I think Brian Thomas Jr. can get some stuff going. Christian Kirk can get some stuff going. I think the game script the Jags want is a shootout, but if the Colts offense doesn't have the horses, then, hopefully ETN gets going. It's kind of bizarre because, I came in fully planning on picking the Colts to win, but the uncertainty of the quarterback position, and if Flacco isn't the pronounced starter and he has to come in late and get into a rhythm, and Anthony Richardson starts and gets banged up, further injures that hip, I don't know. I kind of feel like the Jags might, I don't know. Yeah, I really came in really hot against the Jags, but I'm kind of thinking I talked myself into the Jags winning this. They got weapons.
Yeah, you have, haven't you? It's ticked over.
That pendulum swung in real time. You guys saw that. That's how you know the Legit Football Podcast, unscripted. I'll take the Jags in this one. I'll say 20-16. And I'm gonna be sick, but it is what it is.
I like it.
Yeah. I think the Jags actually, not only do I think the Jags lose this week, I think Doug Peterson, who was already on the hot seat, he found it weird that someone questioned him about his job security. 0-4, bro. Yeah. Clown makeup.
Yeah. All over.
I don't think Anthony is questionable. And here's my prediction. Not only does Anthony Richardson not play, we get the real Joe swag. I'm not talking about Burrow. I'm talking about Joe Flacco coming in, leading the Colts to a 26-24 victory. Doug Peterson is out the door the next day.
Wow. So, that would be, I like Doug Peterson, and I'll never be able to repay him for beating the Patriots in the Super Bowl that year. But that would be cause for celebration in Jacksonville because I think that regime is stale. I think it's time for them to move on. All right. That being said, moving right along. You got that dynamite stick, brother?
I do.
Can you cue that up for me, please?
Strap it on.
I'll take the 60, and you guys can feel free to pick up the pieces if you want.
It's on the clock.
All right. We have the absolute stink fest toilet bowl of the season so far. Snoop Huntley taking on the corpse of Jacoby Brissett. My goodness, how long will they make us wait for Drake May? We are so ready. Tyreek Hill is a shell of himself. He's having Stephon Diggs like meltdowns on the sidelines. Tyreek Hill, trouble in paradise? ? I am not impressed at all with either team. Mike McDaniel's act really wears thin when he's not winning, when his offense isn't moving the ball. He had the quote of the week last week where after the game he said, "Well, that's not how it looked in practice." Very, very funny. The Patriots talked about benching Ramondre Stevenson. I'm gonna stay in the fire one more week. I just have so much faith in him as a player. I think he'll tough it out, work through some tough things. Something I did not think I would possibly say this season, I'm gonna take the Patriots to beat the Miami Dolphins. I'll say 20-19.
Send that game into oblivion. Pat 16-13. I'm not adding anymore.
Oh man, I don't know. It's one of those situations where I don't think a touchdown's going to be scored. I said 9-6 in the last game. I'm going to say 6-3 in this one. It's going to be a field goal game because somehow they're going to end up fumbling it in the red zone for the other team, and they're going to be in field goal range. That's what's going to happen. This is crazy. This is the toilet bowl. It's not a good matchup. on paper it is because they're division rivals. But if you look at who's playing, it's not. And I just picked up Jacoby Brissett to cover one of my bye week quarterbacks. So I'm hoping he has a decent game. But because of how the Dolphins have been doing nothing, I thought maybe they could get something done because there are guys on that offense. Let's be honest, on the Patriots offense, and they're at home. I just maybe they'll get some points. I'm going to go 6-3 Patriots.
Love it.
In a legit football first, we have 2 Dynamite games in a row. And,
Let's go.
Actually, Anthony, is this your first Dynamite game?
It's my first Dynamite game. This might be my first Dynamite game.
So, and actually, if you're watching for the first time, the Dynamite game is where we strap Dynamite to a game because we don't want to see it ever again, and we give 60 seconds to talk and blow it away. Like it's gone and it's out of our existence. We're not watching.
We allow the co-hosts a minute to pick up the pieces of the blown up game and just talk about it, but it's really meant to. It's meant to save us all from having to talk about something that's too pukey.
So, with that said.
Take it away.
Let's start again. While this is just quick news, and actually I'll put the volume down a bit. Some quick news to talk about, which is the Devontae Adams trade rumors or trade requests, not rumors. That matters in this game because he's out. Well, he's out anyway. The vibes at Raiders are terrible, which is weird because they came in and beat the Ravens. They're going to go up against a tough defense. The Broncos defense has kept them in the game. You know that because Bo Nix won a game with 60 yards and less than 200 scrimmage yards on offense. He's the first quarterback to win a game throwing less than 2.5 yards per throw in the Super Bowl era. So do with that what you will. Max Crosby's not a guarantee to come back. I think they made the right move pairing him with Christian Wilkinson, but with him not in the game and Devontae Adams out with the hamstring, this is going to be as ugly a game as the one we were just talking about. I think there's probably going to be 2 picks here. I think the Broncos. I don't even need 60 seconds. That's how gross this game is. I think the Broncos are going to win this 19-16. I think Antonio Pierce has made some enemies with his whole business decisions speech, and I think that this is probably his last year as head coach. We know the Raiders love to cycle through them. Maybe I do need 6 seconds. So that's where we go. Broncos win 19-16.
And
all right. So I didn't know how the Dynamite thing worked, so I'll just say my score.
I don't want to pick up any pieces. I'm good.
No piece. 15-14 Broncos.
My one piece in this game is that I think Denver beating Tampa, beating New York, they deserve the Dynamite game because they're not entertaining and they're not fun to watch, but they're not terrible. And I think they're an interesting team. I fully support the decision to make them a Dynamite game, but I'm going to say that I think that they will do a little bit better than we think down the stretch. Might even sniff a wild card in the AFC. But this game is such a snoozer, and it's such a bore that I think I'll just outright say they'll win 20-17.
All right.
I love Trey Tucker on Vegas, by the way.
I do want to add something.
Yes.
I like Bo Nix. I think that he started off a little rough, but I think I really like his play style, and I think even under Sean Payton. So fun fact. Bo Nix is the first rookie under Sean Payton to ever score a touchdown.
That's fun.
Or pass a touchdown. And so I just thought I'd add that tidbit. But yeah, I like Bo Nix. I think he might be Denver's next big thing. He might be able to bring this team somewhere. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but I think he's going to be around for a while.
Got to see how things shake up with his career. He's off to a decent start. Couple wins. Sometimes it's more about the W's than it is about the stats. So.
Well, and when you can win in the NFL, that's something
that matters.
100%. It does matter because when you're beating a professional football team at that level, it means something, and it's very, I feel like we downplay that sometimes.
Absolutely.
I think it means something that you win with throwing for 60 yards. I also think that means something.
That too.
And he's shown flashes. I'm not saying that, but that's a rough performance. All right, and you treat them with care. Some off-season darlings.
Here we go, and not a bad game either. Not a bad
game.
No,
it's a great game. So I got to see the Cardinals play in person. I drove to Arizona and watched them play the Lions. The Lions beat them. They outplayed them, outcoached them in every aspect of the game. It was amazing on the Lions end. But on the Cardinals end, this is what I saw. I saw Kyler Murray rushing the ball a lot. On the rollouts, on a play action, he found the holes and he was able to really make it down the field. He got the ball to Marvin Harrison. Now he is his main target now because it's like, it reminds me of Stafford to Calvin Johnson, but at it's like the wish.com Stafford and Calvin Johnson. The Kyler Murray to Marvin Harrison, but he makes it work. He does it. But this is what I saw. I saw Kyler Murray underthrowing passes. I saw him overthrowing passes. I saw him get panicked under pressure. And I think that that's what's going to happen with the 49ers defense. So the Detroit defense, they started to figure out how to stop Kyler and they blitzed them. That's exactly what the 49ers are going to do. And Shanahan knows how to stop mobile quarterbacks like Kyler Murray. And so they're going to figure out exactly how to do that. But the thing is, that's going to leave Marvin Harrison wide open. And I think it's going to figure out how to throw to him because he has been working on his throwing. I don't know if you heard, but in training, Kyler Murray did take a course where he did work on his throwing because he's such a running quarterback. They say you need to throw the ball more. We got you a top receiver. You're going to throw to him. And so now he does. And he did when I saw him live. And so I think that's going to be a very good game. The 7.5 spread is kind of rough to me. I think that it should be. I think Arizona's better than they look on paper. And I think it's going to be a closer game than that. I think it's going to be, I'm going to say 17-14. I do think the 49ers are going to walk away with it. There's not much I can say about the 49ers because they are a good team and we know the targets that they have. I'm really, really high on George Kittle lately. I think that he's a lot better than what we perceive him. And so I think that Brock Purdy's going to figure out a way to win. Kyle Shanahan's system is working and they're going to beat the Cardinals 17-14.
I like it. Low scoring for a game with these two teams' offensive pedigrees. I think Arizona's offense is just not quite good enough to compete with San Francisco's defense. So both Anthony and my father seem to have picked the Cardinals to cover. I will not be doing that. I just think even if it's not, I could see this game being like 24-20 late, and I could just see the Niners going on one of those game-killing 14-play. Jordan Mason gets 6 straight sweep or toss or whatever sort of runs. I think I see San Francisco pulling away in this one 31-20. And I think, Arizona, hopefully they get it together. Hopefully Trey McBride can get something going because Adrian and I had a huge affinity for him in the offseason. But a little bit, I mean, yes, he was concussed last week, but a little disappointing of a start, I would say, for Trey McBride.
Hasn't topped 67 yards in a game, which is disappointing. I think so. Purdy has played the Cardinals 3 times, and these are his stats over those 3 games combined: 77% completion, 10.7 yards per attempt, 8 TDs to 0 interception, 150 passer rating.
There it is.
They do well. The Cardinals have, and I stand by my pick on the Cardinals. I still like watching them, but they've been inconsistent, and that is the key here. That I don't think inconsistency will work against the Niners. So, if you want to be taken seriously, Cardinals, go on to Santa Clara. You can lose this game, but just don't get blown out. And I'm going to say the Niners 30-27 in a closer game than people think.
I was thinking about going in that direction, but I think it's going to be. I foresee Jordan Mason just having too much going on the ground for it to be that close. Next up, we have the New York Football Giants traveling to Seattle to take on the Seahawks, who are 6.5-point home favorites. Geno's been great. That's the headline of this game. I'm absolutely surprised at how excellent Geno's been, given that he had a great season 2 years ago. Last season, he was a little bit of a disappointment. It kind of seems like the fluke season might have been the bad season. Kind of seems like Geno might be that dude. Great weapons. JSN finally getting going. Tyler Lockett, even though he's 100 years old, still doing some stuff. DK Metcalf is incredible. Ken Walker hitting me a big parlay on Monday Night Football last week. And I'm sure Anthony, by the end of that game, was fed up watching Ken Walker just absolutely run all over his team. I think the Giants are in for a rude awakening, unfortunately. Jimmy and I talked about it last week. Dallas did everything they could to lose that game to New York on Thursday night, and New York did not seize it. And that's the kind of disappointing crap that has me questioning Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen in New York and questioning their future. Which, as you guys know, as a Bills fan who loves Joe Schoen, loves Brian Daboll, loves Devin Singletary, they're kind of like the Bills in New Jersey. They're kind of like the Jersey Bills. But man, has it been a disappointment. And hey, Daboll gets let go. Joe Brady gets another head coaching job. I'd welcome him back with open arms. Same with Devin Singletary. But I don't think they got the horses in this one. Singletary's doubtful. Jones has looked way better this year, has looked a lot more like he did the year when he was amazing 2 years ago when he took them to the playoffs, and won a playoff game, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Against the Vikings, I believe.
That is correct.
Insane, disgusting, but true. So I think Jones is not the problem. No Malik Neighbors, heartbreaking for that young man's incredible start to his career. I'd love to see that continue. Thank you. Please, team there. I think Seattle's going to win this one. I'll say 34-19.
Yeah, Neighbors is out, which is very disappointing. He is the bell cow in one of my fantasy leagues and has single-handedly got me to 4-0. I think the Seahawks. I think you're right. Seahawks take this. DK Metcalf, whatever. He looks fantastic at the moment. I actually just traded for him in another league. So I had a very similar score, 33-18. I think everything you said is on the money.
Take it away.
I don't like Daniel Jones at all.
Does anyone?
Not quite a hot take there.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just like he's getting paid to win games, and he's not doing that. And so speaking of the Seahawks, though, this is my opportunity to bring up Jared Goff catching a touchdown from St. Brown. I just wanted to bring that. I know everybody saw it, but I just want to brag a little bit because that was pretty cool. And then we got an 18-18 perfect passing game, and you know what? This is about Seahawks. So what I saw with the Seahawks against the Lions was a really good offense that it scared me. I was scared. I'm like, oh, they're down 2 scores, but that doesn't mean anything. They could easily come back and win this game. The Detroit defense was able to stop them. The Giants defense won't. So I have the Seahawks offense single-handedly winning this game and covering the spread. I'm going to say 28-17 Seahawks. I think the 17 is going to be scored in garbage time.
Yep. And before we move on to the next game, because the Lions aren't playing this week, so I feel like Goff needs a little bit of flowers here because he's got more TD passes than Calvin Ridley, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, and Jalen Waddle combined. So,
so cool.
Yep,
that was an unbelievable game, I have to say.
And hilarious that Dan Campbell forgot to give him the game ball. Absolutely hilarious.
All right, it's time for my boys. My spinning helmet behind me. Packers just boo the entire time.
I love it. Tumultuous.
Jordan Love came out to about as bad a first half as you could kind of hope against the Vikings, which was disappointing. And I sort of like, did they bring it back too soon? But he turned it on, and I feel like he got right. And I don't see. Look, he had rust. He absolutely made some bad decisions, but it was also one of those games where everything kind of bounced the Vikings' way. One of those interceptions was off the tip. It was ridiculous. And currently, the Rams are allowing the most yards per attempt in the league. They're ranked dead last in rush defense. So it's kind of like a pick your poison game for Matt LaFleur, who I would say, and you guys tell me if you're wrong, up until last week was kind of contending against Kevin O'Connell for Coach of the Year. And then Kevin O'Connell kind of put his first foot forward, I would say that, and he'd be in the lead at the moment. Sean McVay and LaFleur are very similar. Both Shanahan kind of disciples. And they can do a lot with a little. So I think because the Rams are so banged up, like it's not just Nakua and Cup, their offensive line is ruined. Their defense is missing key pieces. I do think this is going to be a fairly easy Packers game. And they have LaFleur has historically won this matchup against McVay. So I'm going to say 34-13. I think Jordan Love balls out and comes back kind of strong to show, because there was a little bit of hate, especially in the first half last week, and rightfully so. There was talks about like people the crowd wanting Malik Willis. It's like, dude, he just came off an injury. He's still not 100%.
He's that dude.
He is. I am convinced now. And I know I said coming into the season, like I'm not sure he's the guy yet. I'm scared to be hurt, but I'm no longer scared. Meet my family. Let's book a vacation 2 years in advance. Like that's where I'm at with Jordan Love.
I love it. Congrats, man.
We're happy. I'm putting on weight. That's happy weight.
Did you give us a score?
34-13.
All right, perfect. Oh, blowout. Yeah. And
I think the Pack's too banged up. Rams too banged up.
Yeah, I agree with that. With Cooper Kupp being out and everything, and they have no offensive line. The Rams have no offensive line. Jordan Love balled out last week, and he impressed. I don't even know if he impressed everyone because everyone expected it. It's hard to impress when it's expected, right? And if he keeps on that, then the Packers are going to be one of the best teams in the league, regardless of their record, because he had that little injury stint there. But I think that can Matthew Stafford get it done? Maybe, because we've seen it before. We've seen it happen before. I'm not going to say the Rams are going to win. But when I say the word Whittington, what do you guys think? Is that something to think about?
Oh, for sure.
Or is it going to?
He could do some stuff.
Because Nakua's playing, but he's not entirely healthy. Cooper Kupp's completely out.
Is
So Whittington's
playing?
going to get targets.
Is Nakua playing?
I don't think he's playing.
I don't think Nakua's playing, but he's day to day, right? I know he's on the he's questionable.
He's not on the. You know, it's funny. He's not on the injury report, but I thought he's on IR.
Yeah, so he
he's
got
on
one more
IR?
game. He's got to miss one more game, I think.
Yeah, he's on IR.
Oh, okay, my bad. I thought this was his game back.
No
So
stress.
that brings up Whittington again. Like, is he going to be his top receiver, and what's he going to do? I have the Packers winning like 28-14, but I did want to bring up this name because he's a rookie. And look what happened to Nakua when he was a rookie. Stafford gave him the opportunity to break out, and could he do this with this rookie now?
Yeah.
Because this is like a mentor to a student. Whittington's a student, Stafford's the mentor. He's going to help, bring that up.
Yeah, Whittington's for sure a good player, and I think he could make some noise, especially for fantasy, but especially if the Packers get out to a lead. We did see the Packers kind of fumble a little bit last week, Aid. Like they really probably should have won that game, but they kind of came out of the gates really slow. But we saw in the second half just how apt their offense was and how Jordan Love really is. And for it to not equate to anything in terms of a win was pretty unfortunate. I love Dontavian Wicks. I think he's a smash play in fantasy this week with Christian Watson being out. I think Packers. Okay, there you go. Even better.
So smash that Wicks button.
Smash that Wicks.
I do think that Green Bay has things to work on, and Sean McVay has a habit of exposing teams' flaws, and I think that we're going to see a little bit of that. The Rams could win it because they've surprised us before. I'm not downplaying the Packers, Adrian. I don't like them. But no, they're a great team. It's just a 3.5 point spread. It's kind of saying the Rams could get it done, and I think that that's a possibility. But if I'll
take Green Bay in this one, 30-24. I feel good about that.
You are ruining people's day, and I'm living for it.
Let's go.
Let's finish it up, boys. 2 games to go. We're making time.
Who is this? Ant?
Yeah. So I'm going to do my best. Stephen A. Smith. Are you ready?
Yeah.
How about them Cowboys?
6 out of 10. Solid. 7 out of 10.
Okay, I'll take it. They are not good. They're not playing good. They're not even looking good. On paper, they're not good. CeeDee Lamb is the only good player on that team. Pittsburgh's home now. Justin Fields has figured out how to make this team move around the field, get into the end zone, and win. Mike Tomlin is going to go over 500 again, and I think that this is all going to happen really fast. And the Steelers are going to beat the Cowboys. It's going to be close. I think they're going to cover. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a lot of points scored. CeeDee Lamb will touch the end zone. Elliott might even touch the end zone, but Pittsburgh's going to touch the end zone more. And I think it's going to be 32-30 somehow.
Shootout. Yeah, that's a high scoring game there. That's a high scoring affair for teams with both pretty good defenses. Dallas has been a little more disappointing this year compared to usual. But I love it. I love the boldness, Anthony. I think I'm going to take Pittsburgh to win as well. I have a lot of faith in what Justin Fields is putting together. I think Najee Harris will get going in this game. He's the lone man in that backfield. I believe Jalen Warren's still missing, which is unbelievable. Set a pick on fire if you drafted him in fantasy, it looks like thus far. But I think Pickens and Freiermuth will move the ball up and down the field. I think Dallas will probably get some stuff going on offense more than most of the teams that have played Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's defense is too ferocious. Dak will get sacked a couple times. I'm going to take Pittsburgh in this one more conservatively. I'll say 22-21.
Yeah. So current names out. So Brandon Cooks is out. Micah Parsons is out. Trayvon Diggs is questionable. Warren is out, as you mentioned. Corral Harrison is out. Alex Highsmith is out. So there's a lot of big names missing here. I do think CeeDee Lamb is that guy though. Like I do think he's like right up there with Jefferson. I had him last week for 6.5 receptions. I think he got that in the first quarter, or he got 6 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
So I think the Cowboys take this in an ugly one in 25-21.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I believe in Dak as far as a quarterback goes, and as far as QB smarts and diagnosing the defense before the play, I believe in Dak to be able to do that significantly more than Justin Fields, who I don't hate.
Fair. Last but not least, we have Houday, New Orleans Saints traveling to Kansas City to take on 5-point favorite Kansas City Chiefs. It's well documented my hatred for the Chiefs. Hopefully it's more well documented my compassion, and seeing a star quarterback break a star wide receiver's leg or tear their ACL or whatever is going on with Rashee Rice did not feel good. I was very upset for them. We always say, if you're going to beat a team, we want to beat them at full strength.
Yeah.
So Rashee Rice, he's on IR, so he's going to miss a minimum of 4 games. Who knows? It could be a season ender. Already lost Pacheco for the year. Already lost Hollywood Brown for the year. Kind of some tough pills for KC to swallow. However, they're 4-0. And sure enough, this game figures to be a doozy. New Orleans was the talk of the town coming into the NFL this season. The first 2 weeks, starting out 2-0, really setting the league ablaze. They've really crashed back down to earth. I would say all but turned into the pumpkin that we kind of thought they might be. However, I think this game will be entertaining. I think we'll see some good football. I think we'll see some bad football that leads to entertaining games, entertaining outcomes. Again, clown makeup on, red poofy nose strapped on. Give me the Saints in an upset. I'll take New Orleans to win this one. I'll say 31-28. And for bonus points, we'll say OT.
See, you're going to hate this because I know you love to be the contrarian, and I'm going to say the Saints upset this too. Damn it. Every week, I prey on the downfall of the Chiefs, and I predict the downfall of the Chiefs, and I'm always wrong.
Yeah,
Kelsey's getting older. He's non-existent. Rice is out. Mahomes even's looking human. I think the Saints take this one. I think Olave gets his first 100-yard game, and Kamara, who is running like a man possessed at the moment, get the Saints for an upset buzzer field goal, 24-23.
Boom.
It was 2 weeks ago when I picked the Saints to beat the Cowboys.
Yes, sir.
And
take your bow.
I will. Bow for you there. I was very proud of that pick because there's something in the Saints that I saw that really was working. Derek Carr, I've been behind Derek Carr since Vegas, though. He's a great quarterback. Let's be honest.
I like him too. He's very hated on this podcast, Anthony, but I like him too. Adrian.
I don't want to talk about it.
He's my second quarterback on the legit league, so I'm praying for his good games, But I think he's gonna have one. I think Shaheed is his top receiver over Olave, and I think Olave is wide receiver 1 still, but Shaheed has been available and he's been catching every pass. He's been scoring touchdowns. It's been great. I think that their offense is really good. They have a great run game with Kamara. He's the top running back in the league right now, if I'm not wrong. Is that correct?
Fact check me on
that. I think
Henry's
number 1.
Okay, top 3.
Yeah.
Top 3, yeah.
Old guys, Brian McFadden.
Crazy.
Where you at with your charts?
he would have it. The Saints are going to beat the Chiefs. They're going to cover too. I think it's going to be 24-10.
Oh,
I don't see the
hurt him.
Even. I think they were going to score 1 touchdown and a field goal.
Don't hurt him.
I think the Chiefs are going to be exposed. I think they're going to finally be exposed. They're 4-0, but look who they played. That's why I always say, look who they're playing. Look how their opponents are playing. Because I've been saying all season, Cincinnati didn't, or Kansas City didn't beat Cincinnati. Cincinnati beat Cincinnati.
True.
Kansas City just took the W.
Same with Atlanta.
I just think that's how it's going to be with Kansas City now, especially with Rice being out, with Pacheco being out. Patrick Mahomes is just too good to be stopped, so he's figured out how to win. But now I think this is going to be the downfall. This is going to be when Rome falls. It doesn't happen in a day. It happens in 3 Super Bowls. So I think that the Saints are going to win. It's going to be a good game for sure. We'll see.
I'll say this. There's something to be said for that ethos that a team has when they're the king of the hill, back-to-back Super Bowl champs. We witnessed it for the Patriots for 2 decades. When teams are playing teams like the Chiefs don't have to beat them because they beat themselves. I do believe, despite the obvious at times horrible calls, I do believe it's psychological. They are the boogeyman. Yeah. And so I think if I was a fan of the Chiefs, I would love this. But given that I hate them, I hate it. When the Chiefs were down to the Bills in the AFC Divisional Playoff in 2021 in the infamous 13 seconds game, Andy Reid famously went to Mahomes before the drive where they tied it up and said, "When things look grim, son, you be the Grim Reaper." And I think that's one of the corniest things I've ever heard. So corny, but also kind of like if I was a Chiefs fan, I might put that on a t-shirt, but I'm not. I hate them. So I think I'm going to make fun of it and say that they're lame. But I do think that their ethos and their cult of personality and their gargantuan status across the field, when you see that Arrowhead faithful and when you see the tomahawk on the helmet, something goes into your brain. You get a little stupid. You get a little crazy juice in your head, and you choke. It seems. Is that
are you hating?
Yeah,
are you hating that we all picked the Saints? I feel like you're hating it.
I will not change my pick.
We're ruining your day, and
I will not change my pick. Exactly. I will stay with my original pick, but damned if the Chiefs aren't they're the poster child for find a way, and I hate that. I want it to be Buffalo. Anyways, that has been another episode of the Legit Football NFL podcast. Adrian, anything you want to say to the good people before we sign off?
I love y'all. That's it. It's so good, and it's good to have you back, bro. I know I said that the last, I think week 3. Either way, happy to have you back.
Hey, I appreciate it. I love it. I appreciate
it. And anything you want to say to the good people?
Yeah. Go Bills, go Packers, go Lions. Let's get it.
Did that hurt you to say?
That
hurt a little bit.
It hurt him.
I have chest pains now.
The hay is in the barn. We talked about week 4. We previewed week 5. This has been the Legit Football NFL podcast, and we are out.